Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Vigilantes TV. Last week marked the first full week with President Donald Trump as President of the United States, and it's fair to say that it's been quite a dramatic one. As soon as he had stepped into the Oval Office, the newly elected president signed a variety of executive orders and presidential memorandums around the three main themes that had been the backbone of his presidential campaign: immigration, infrastructure spending, and repealing Obamacare. While these issues have divided the nation, it's important to take a step back and reflect on the powers conferred to the president through these executive orders. This is what the Sunday Times did in an article that appears on your screens now. The Sunday Times says that while executive orders allow the president to flex his muscles, they do not allow him to rule as a king, essentially because they are constrained to issues around foreign policy, and also they cannot go against existing laws, and they provide only recommendations to the rest of the government on how they should behave. For this reason, markets have essentially shrugged off a lot of these events and have taken a more long-term approach. Keeping on the subject of politics, but this time closer to home, yesterday saw the second round of the French socialist primaries, and Benoît Hamon came out on top, which means that we now know the five main candidates that will be going into the election next April in France. Jean-Luc Mélenchon on the extreme left, François Fillon on the moderate right, Benoît Hamon from the Socialist Party, Emmanuel Macron from the Centre Party, and Marine Le Pen from the extreme right. The risk, of course, for France is that Marine Le Pen becomes president and holds a referendum to take France out of the European Union. This would, of course, wreak havoc in the markets and also be very bad for Europe, naturally. That said, France's two-round election system means that even though she is scoring well in the polls, the likelihood of this happening is still quite low. Moving on to bond markets, the correction that we have seen over the past 6 months in global government bonds continued last week, and we are now reaching again important psychological levels for the 10-year Treasury yields and 10-year bund yields. These are essentially 2.5% and 0.5%. On the contrary, real bund yields remain quite low and have recently decoupled from economic fundamentals. We believe that should the situation revert, real bund yields and also conventional bund yields should continue to move higher. Looking ahead to next week, it'll be an important week for two central banks. The Bank of Japan will be announcing its monetary policy decision on Tuesday and the Federal Reserve on Wednesday. For the Bank of Japan, it's already been 1 year since they surprised financial markets by cutting interest rates into negative territory. As the situation today in Japan is quite different, it'll be interesting to hear what they have to say. As for the Federal Reserve, we have been hearing a lot of rumors in the press that Janet Yellen will maybe discuss reducing the size of the balance sheet. Finally, Eurostat will also publish European inflation numbers on Tuesday. Inflation in Europe has been increasing quite significantly, from 0.6% in November to 1.1% in December. So it will be interesting to see if it continues on its upward momentum. Thank you all for watching, and tune in next time.